People of the internet, today I'm going to tell you a story about how a small YouTuber defeated the internet's biggest bully and the man that comedians are supposed to fear the most, Redbar. And that small YouTuber is me. You see, 8 months ago, I started this channel to talk about comedy after I saw Joe Rogan's special Burn the Boats. It was so terrible, I just wanted to make a video to talk about it. After making the video, I discovered that a lot of the comedians Joe Rogan promoted on his podcast were absolute trash as well, so I continued making videos because, hey, I just wanted to. But I noticed that every time I made a video, someone would always comment, "Redbar is watching." And finally one day I decided to check it out. I watched a couple of his episodes, I looked at things over a month period, and finally I decided I didn't like Redbar. He's a racist, he casually just drops the N-word all the time, he attacks women, children, and anything in between. Because for Redbar, nothing is off limits, and I can't respect that kind of guy. But despite my efforts to distance myself from him and his fans, it only got worse. His fans started to troll me, making comments anywhere they would, and they just would not stop. Finally, I'd had enough, and on my live stream, I proclaimed once again that I want nothing to do with Redbar, but this time I said, if you mention Redbar, you make a sarcastic comment towards me involving Redbar, you will be automatically banned. And once again, this did not stop them. They were relentless. No matter how much I banned them, they would just create another account and come back once again. And after a couple months of this, I had finally had enough. And that brings us to the story I'm going to tell you today. So get ready, because the story starts now. Before I begin my story, I'll explain who Redbar is for those of you who do not know. Redbar is a failed comedy club owner that turned into a podcast, and on that podcast he goes after comedians he does not think are worthy of the title comedian. And it doesn't stop there. He often digs into their personal lives, their families, and anything he can find to trash them to holy hell. In fact, nothing is off the table for Redbar, especially racism. Most notably, Redbar and his fans love the N-word, and Redbar even rewrote the DuckTales theme song to proclaim his hate for black people. And there's much more I could say about Redbar, but we'll wait, because now we are going to May 11th, 2025. Prior to May 11th, I'd made a couple videos on Redbar, how he was cheating his fans out of money with his monthly subscription where he provided no content, or very little to say the least. But it was on May 11th that I began to dig. And what I found was shocking. There were allegations that he began dating his now wife when she was only 17. There are allegations and proof of very rampant drug use, alcoholism, and even stealing from his family, friends, and business partners. Shockingly, there was proof that Mike David shit his pants regularly and had to wear diapers. But something also shocking I found. After years and years of Redbar making fun of short people, it was discovered that Redbar himself was only 5'3" and actually shorter than Joe Rogan. With all the new information I planned to live stream for that night, I did it. But little did I know that that video was about to cause me a lot of trouble. May 13th was an ordinary day just like any other, but I did what I always do, started making my YouTube content. And it wasn't until later that day that I saw this. And he wanted to give me a copyright strike for literally the same thing he does. And he could dish it out, but what? He couldn't take it? And once again, I did another live stream to proclaim the hypocrisy of Redbar and asked my people why he would do this to me. During that live stream, Redbar and Jules showed up to proclaim that, hey, we didn't do this, but we could help you get it taken down. And even towards the end of that live stream, Mike David messaged me at my email and told me he would help to get it taken down, but he would like to talk to me. But I refused because I had remembered earlier that I had seen a comedy enforcement video from his early days. A few months prior, I had seen this comedy enforcement video, and that video was about Redbar. And in that video, after watching Redbar, he called it the cringiest video he had ever seen. And after that video, Redbar roasted him live on his show, and comedy enforcement bent the knee, even in future videos referring to Redbar like nothing had happened. And I sure as shit was not gonna let that happen to me, or let him take my words and misuse them. And that was that. The live stream ended, I still had a copyright strike, Mike did not take it down, and I just resigned myself to the fact that I was gonna have to be under punishment for 90 days. Or so I thought. It had been a little over a week and a half since my copyright strike, and when you get a copyright strike, your views go down, your subs go down, and your money goes down, and this was making me more pissed the longer it went. And Redbar fans were having a heyday. They were threatening me, mocking me, and most importantly, I had been doxxed. But let's hold on a minute, because there are two important things I did not tell you. First, before the live stream, Mike had commented on my copyright strike post that he didn't do it. This made me contact Google and ask if I had gotten a false claim. Google immediately launched an investigation and said they would be contacting me later when they found out who did it. And they got back to me towards the end of the live stream. No matter how many times Redbar tried to save face and say he would email YouTube to get the copyright taken down, Google confirmed that it was in fact Redbar, and that Redbar would like to leave the copyright strike in place. So now we know with 100% certainty Redbar, aka Mike David, did in fact give me the copyright strike, and even though he tried to say he would take it down, he in fact didn't, and wanted it left up to punish me because I had called him out. Number 2, before the live stream, I had received a comment saying that I had been doxxed, which would make sense because I had been getting death threats. I've been getting threats to come to my house, to ruin my career, and to beat me up. And this continued since the moment I got the copyright strike. Now you may be asking yourself, who doxed me? Well, Redbar, of course. If you remember, I told you that Redbar emailed me during that live stream, but I only showed you half of the email. As much as Redbar pleaded that he wanted to be friends and help me get rid of the copyright strike, he also threatened me with the email. The other half of the email contained my personal information. You see, going back 8 months to when I was trying to figure out who Redbar was, I purchased a Scars Club membership, and with that information, I put my name Lion Meows and gave him my personal information, and I also gave him an email that only 3 people had: Reddit, Google, and Mike David. I knew then it would come back to haunt me when I put my personal information on that website, but little did I know that it would help me prove that it was in fact Mike David that doxed me. You see, Google and Reddit only had my email address, so that left Mike David the only person with my physical address and my contact information. Now we know that Mike David did in fact copyright strike me and dox my information, but that didn't solve the problem of me having over 70 days left on my copyright strike. So I went back to my copyright strike to see if there was anything I could do or if I missed something. When I went back to the copyright strike, I reread it carefully and I noticed that it said C/O. And when it says C/O, it means in care of. So that means it might not have been Mike David that specifically filed the copyright strike, but it was somebody that was a representative of Mike David. And that would make sense if somebody else filed it for him, and why he was trying to deny it, and why he said he could get it taken down. But who was this person that filed the copyright strike? And who was working for Mike David? Well, that's what I was about to find out. When you get a copyright strike, you have 3 options. First, you can just wait the 90 days. Second, you submit a counter notification and the other party has 10 days to either take you to federal court or drop the notification. And number 3, you can contact the person and ask them to take it down. But when you contact the person, Google gives you the email of the person that filed the claim. Now, I had dismissed this email before as maybe a fake email that Mike Redbar gave me because he didn't want to give me his real email, or he wanted to seem like he was anonymous before I figured it out. But when I went back to look at that email again, I decided that I would do a little investigation to find out who this email really belonged to. And when I investigated that email, it brought me to this mortuary page. And as you can see, that is the same email address that is in my copyright claim, but look above, there is also his name. And with that name, I soon found his Facebook page, and then his LinkedIn page, and that he worked as a security guard at Paragon Security in Toronto, Canada. Now, I have one question for you. Who do we know that is from Toronto, Canada? Jules David, Mike David's wife. And I knew at that point that I had a chance, and I formulated a plan. Now, if you remember a few minutes ago, I told you that you could counter notify a copyright claim, and they would either have to dismiss it or file it in federal court in the United States to fight or sue you. I knew that Mike David, in his current health condition, was in no shape to fight a case in federal court. And if he really intended to do that, he wouldn't have put Adam Thamba on the hook for this copyright strike. I also knew that Adam Thamba on a security guard's wages, and as you can see in his LinkedIn page, he was begging for a job just 4 months ago, that he could not afford to file a case in the United States. So I executed my plan. It had been 13 days since I received the copyright strike, and I no longer wanted my channel to suffer. So I filed the counter notification, and then I planned a live stream for that night to show all the information I had found and how they had done it. My plan was to catch them off guard and expose them for how they did it. With all the new recent information, I knew that one, if not both, would panic, and hopefully they would retract the claim. And bingo, it worked. That night during the live stream, Adam Thamba retracted the claim, and 2 days later I received an official notification that YouTube had removed the copyright strike and restored the video. You see, a bully is only as powerful as you let them be. And most of the time, when you stand up to them, you will see that you are stronger and taller than them. And in Mike's case, I literally am 1.5 feet taller than him. So what is the moral of the story? Well, the moral of the story is this. When you face a bully, you have 2 options. Either you can lay down and take it and live in fear of this person, or you can stand up, have courage, and fight. In my instance, I chose to fight because I no longer wanted to pay the consequences for what this man, Mike David, does on his own channel. Just criticize comedians. Also remember this, believe in yourself because you are more capable than you will ever know. And when you are faced with an obstacle or a challenge, face it head on and most likely you will beat it. But that's all the life advice I'm going to give you for now. And maybe in another story you'll hear some more. But for now, this is the end of this story. And this is how I beat the man that comedians are supposed to fear the most, Redbar.
Know you like to bang, yo. Don't stand.